when people are working on me and I can tell that they're kind of getting injured or potentially getting injured or what have you. So we are going to go through a series of what to do in the upper body and what not to do in the upper body. So stay tuned. So again, a lot of people are going to do a lot of squeezing here. I don't really like the petrissage. This is hard on me after 20 years. Really solid, and I'm up and over my person. My thumbs always hang out like I'm giving a thumbs up or I'm trying to hitchhike. I no longer do any downward dogs in yoga. It took me a couple of years to get it back. So I stopped. Just stop. I promise you don't have to do this. There's so many other ways. And she was trying to access these trigger points in my upper trap with her poor thumbs. Oh, I can't even do it, but I'm going to simulate it. It says you actually can rotate to the opposite side, and these guys are going to stay soft for you, okay? Okay. I see a lot of Instagram short videos on people doing really yummy things with the forearm and hand. And one of the things I've seen recently, again, this extension of the wrist, somebody working the forearm like this. It looks so yummy, and it probably feels really good. But this is what I want to know. Even though it feels good to your clients, if it doesn't feel good to you, why are you doing it? Okay, so I don't do that anymore. Basically, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to lengthen these extensor group. So I'm going to use that loosed fist again. I'm going to keep my body really close to the table. I'm going to keep my torso really, really straight. I'm going to keep this nice loose fist. Look at me stacking. And I don't even want any pressure on my shoulders. And so I'm just going to fall. I'm going to do almost no pressure whatsoever. How does that feel? Does that feel deep? And I'm going to go all the way from origin. Sorry, I'm going to go, in this scenario, I'm going to go from insertion to origin. Okay. Now, if you want to work deeper fibers, you can do a little pin and stretch like this. You actually pin that extensor group, and then you can either move their thumb that way, or you can have them move their thumb. Go ahead and move your thumb towards that wall. Perfect. And just getting different kind of fibers. Now, if you want to get those digitorum muscles, right? We're always keyboarding, we're always texting, we're always moving these digitorum muscles. Well, I can just ask my client, go ahead and just wiggle your fingers like this. Great. Okay, stop. Now, when she did that, I could feel the digitorum pop up. So go ahead and do it again. Yep. Okay, stop. And then I'm just going to access a slightly different tissue here. Now, the reason I'm using stacked fingers is because this muscle is so tender on people. Deep tissue is not deep. I'm giving her like that much pressure. But it's deep enough because we use our hands all the time. And so again, when you know your anatomy really well, you can really let go. You don't have to look down anymore. You can just look out the windows, keep your chest high, because you know where you are in space at all times. Okay, so that's how you do the extensors. How would you do the flexors? Well, you can put them like this. When they're in the prone position, you can also work their forearms, which I sometimes do. And again, I'm not going to be doing any kind of work like this. My thumbs are not meant for that, but I can have her rest right here, and then I can just use my thumbs like I'm just leading down. Again, my thumbs are just kind of going along for the ride. I'm not really doing anything. I'm just squeezing her, but really I'm using gravity and I'm falling my chest to do the real work. Just falling, 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 falling. And I can always hold her here and use a nice open fist and fall too. And then I can bring her into pronation, which is going to get all of this other stuff. Or I can keep her in pronation and then supinate. But notice I'm not really doing anything that's taxing of me. So again, a lot of people are going to do a lot of squeezing here. I don't really like the petrissage. This is hard on me after 20 years. So I don't do it. So I'm just going to hold her. I'm going to work in between her metacarpals here, because again, we use our hands too much. We're holding devices, steering wheels, utensils, keyboards, and I'm just going to push away. I'm just going to pull her towards me. I'm just going to pull her towards me. When one tool gets sore, I'm going to move a different tool. You can even do a forearm on a forearm. See? I'm not doing anything. I'm barely using any pressure whatsoever. So we are talking about your full body all over on the deeper side massage, okay? So first, let's get the stool out of the way. Notice that my body mechanics are really solid and I'm up and over my person. My thumbs always hang out like I'm giving a thumbs up or I'm trying to hitchhike. I am never using my thumbs in big muscles like the erector spinae. I'm just not. I'm never going to. And the reason is you can't stack your thumb with any joint. You just can't. So I'm going to work these big, long muscles, and I'm going to work them up and over my work. So what is creating the leverage is my knee is in the table, so I have a low table, and I'm plantar flexing my foot. I'm plantar flexing my foot, okay? And my thumbs are just going along for the ride. I pretend like they don't even exist. What I'm using is kind of these upper two knuckles. That's what I'm using. And I'm going to push in to the muscle. So this is what I'm going to do. What I am never going to do is this. For one thing, most people are severely rolled forward. They don't like this move. It's not comfortable. And in fact, you're making a forward rolled posture even worse. The reason it sometimes feels good on some bodies is because it releases endorphins. But please don't do that. Just whatever you learned in massage school, just stop. Stop it now. Don't do that. Because again, you're going to take a forward rolled shoulder and make it worse. So that's number one. Please don't do that. Number two, don't do any of this. Okay? Try not to even do any fingers. These are really thick, big muscles. Right here, you're looking at like 7 layers of muscles. What is a tiny little thumb or tiny little fingers going to do? If you need to go in deep, notice my body mechanics, notice my chest is really high. I'm not like this. I don't have to actually look down at what I'm doing. I can look out the windows. And I just kind of hold my hands together. And in order to get the motion, I'm plantar flexing my back foot. But notice how close I am into the table. Notice how my body looks. I can go all the way from the sacrum and the low back, and I can sink and wait and hold. Notice my chest is up. If you know your anatomy, you don't need to look down. I know where I am. And I move up and I move over. Okay, let's do the same on the other side. up. Take a moment, notice my leg pushed in, and I'm really tight and close, and I'm getting the power from following my chest and plantar flexing my back foot. And I actually got an adjustment on my client. Yay, bonus. Okay, now, if you don't love all the elbow work, you can use a nice steady fist. See, my thumb's still just going along for the ride. Everything is nice and stacked. My shoulder is not medially rotated. A lot of people do this. This is number 3. Do not do this, okay? You are medially rotated at the shoulder joint if you do this. Again, thumbs up. I'm thumbing a ride. When you put your thumb up, then your wrist is stacked with your elbow stacked with your shoulder, and your shoulder is not medially rotated. Really important. So this is number 3. Not this, but this. Not this, this. Let's try it from the upper position. It's this position, not this. This medially rotates your shoulder joint. Please, please stop doing this. Oh, the other move that I feel, I don't actually see a lot of, but I feel people do is this, okay? You're achieving deep pressure through this. But look what's happening. I mean, there's so many wrong things with this. For one thing, you're extending your wrist, and all of these poor carpals, you know? If you're doing this work without oil, you can actually be pulling the fascia from your forearms. You're extending your flexors, you're contracting your extensors, and you're trying to push with that. So your wrist is extended and you're pushing down. Early in my career, I did this, and I could no longer do any downward dogs in yoga. It took me a couple of years to get it back. So I stopped. Just stop. I promise. You don't have to do this. There's so many other ways. What are you trying to achieve with this motion? What are you trying to achieve? When I used to use it early in my career, I was trying to achieve downward flush pressure. Okay, let's use a different tool to create downward flush pressure. How about that open fist again? Look at that. So easy, nice and open, nice and broad, except I'm stacked. Same as this. Do not do this. Instead, thumbs up, open fist, go along for the ride. Fall with your chest to get the pressure. All right. Next, no for body mechanics. This. Any kind of this under pressure where you scoop the head and then you're doing downward pressure like this. Why? There's so many other ways. What are you trying to do for one? Most therapists are trying to access these suboccipitals here, or maybe, the attachment at mastoid process or whatever. But why would I want to achieve deep pressure with my hand in a claw and my fingers tightened and then all of my flexor tendons tightened? I'm just asking for an injury, and I'm asking for, gosh, you name it, carpal tunnel, impingement syndrome. This is not what any full-time therapist needs to do. Instead, how about we try just pivoting you to the side? Look at that. Now I'm coming in, I'm still working the occipital muscles, but I'm coming in to the side. And I'm coming in, just allow the camera angle to see here. Coming in pretty much right at the hairline, and my pressure is kind of over here, kind of at the eye, but kind of down towards the table. And I am just stacking again. My arm is very comfortably just hanging out at the table. And then I'm just using her hand to push back into my hand. I'm achieving the exact same thing that I was trying to do like this, but I'm achieving it from the side. Hairline. Most of the suboccipitals are right here, right at the hairline. Mastoid process, a quarter of an inch towards the hairline, suboccipitals, okay? So my arm is just kind of hanging out. My pressure is diagonal and down towards the table. And then if I need more pressure, I'm just falling with my chest. Just falling with my chest. And I'm doing the exact same thing this claw movement is. So know this. Pivot your stool and bring her towards you. I'm so relaxed. No pressure. Does that feel deep enough to you, my dear client? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you can always ratchet it up or ratchet it down. Oh, Lord. I'd take about an hour drive a couple times a year to work with my really dear friend, who's amazing, at Bodywork. And she was trying to access these trigger points in my upper trap with her poor thumbs. Oh, I can't even do it, but I'm going to simulate it. She went in and down with her poor teeny little thumbs in one of the biggest muscles of the body, right? And she was going for it. I can't even pretend I hate that. And I stopped her and I said, "What are you trying to do?" She said, "I'm trying to get the trigger points in your upper trap." And I said, "With your thumbs?" And she said, "Yeah, how would you do it?" And as I was receiving, I walked her through. It does mean you have to get a little personal with your client. But hopefully, if you have enough rapport with your clients, so my pressure is kind of down towards her feet and in towards the table. I mean, let's just review trapezius. Mostly people are rolled forward, right? They have forward-leaning posture because of texting, because of driving, because of a life on computers, a life being forward. In our case, we're massage therapists, so we're massaging people forward. So what do we need more than anything? Why is this area so sore? Why is it so dense? It's so dense because it's overstretched, right? This middle trap, this upper trap is overstretched. So it needs to be down and back. Most people find an incredible amount of relief being down and back. So I love my knuckles, really loose knuckles, but some people are not going to love that. And so what can you replace those thumbs with? We'll try just sticking. I usually turn my face away so I give my client a little more privacy. And then you can do a deeper move. I'm just falling. I didn't even use oil. I'm just falling. So sweet, so easy, deep enough. And I'm pushing that trap back. So no, I don't even know. No fingers, no thumbs, no upper trap, no big muscles and fingers and thumbs. Just no. Instead, this, push away and down and into their feet. Or my personal favorite is loose knuckles, okay? So then the other thing that people do with this is that they try to do deeper work with their fingers too. Again, I would suggest pivoting and going inside the lamina groove. Let's just recap, okay? Your transverse processes are what stop you. So if you come straight into your client's neck, the pokey transverse processes is what's going to stop you. So right behind them, literally, transverse processes here, finger width here, I'm in the lamina groove, okay? I would never do deep tissue like this, but I could do it again with a nice knuckle and go down the entire length of her neck. The hardest thing here is just making sure you don't pull their hair. But if you just go straight in like this, you're accessing the lamina groove. And that's where it's at. I mean, that's where all the yummies are. So straight in, you're underneath their teepees. Look at that. Please, okay, next move that massage therapists do that don't know better is they feel around the transverse processes and they go, oh, I feel some density right here. Please don't rake over people's transverse processes. It doesn't feel good. Please no, please stop. These are sharp, and every time you push into them, you're creating micro tears. And again, your client most clients don't know enough about anatomy to know they don't like it. They'll be like, oh, that kind of feels weird. And then if you don't know enough about anatomy, you'll be like, oh, that's just because you're sore. Nope, it's because you're raking over their transverse processes. So please stop doing that. Stop. Instead, come in straight. This is where the transverse processes are. Straight in, and guess what? I'm in a lamina groove. Okay? All right, last but not least in this neck region, what not to do. This and that, okay? So many massage therapists will take their client's neck to the side and go like this. Help me understand what you're trying to achieve, okay? If you're trying to do something really superficial, let me get some more oil here. If you're trying to do something really superficial because you work at a day spa and everything is super gentle and you're just trying to make them feel warm and cozy, by all means, this is a fine superficial move, okay? It is not a great deep move, and let me tell you why. Here's your anatomy review for the sternocleidomastoid, okay? So sternocleidomastoid attaches here, origin here, insertion mastoid. When you rotate the neck to the opposite side, this buddy contracts, okay? See, these two ends come shorter together, all right? So what that means when you do deep tissue, when they are contracted, remember, it rotates to the opposite side. So that means when her head goes this way, this muscle contracts. When her head goes this way, this sternocleidomastoid contracts. So when you are rotating her head and working that opposite SCM, you are essentially working, think about the biceps. Would you ever work the biceps like this? Would you ever be like, let me contract that bicep and then put deep pressure into it? No, you wouldn't. You would either keep it at neutral and then work it, or you might even stretch it and work it. So when you are working these SCMs in any kind of deeper fashion, rotate to the same side or keep it neutral, or if you can't find it, bring it to the same side. That's going to stretch it out and keep it nice and soft for you. So again, to review, when you are working the SCM, rotate to the same side because its action is rotation to the opposite side, okay? So I have seen way too many new massage therapists do deeper work when their anterior head is really rotated, okay? Remember your O's, I's, and A's from massage school. I promise your intuition will deepen when you do. Anterior neck muscles rotate to the opposite side or they laterally flex. Posterior neck muscles rotate to the same side mostly, okay? So that means when you're working like splenius, capitis, and cervices, you actually can rotate to the opposite side, and these guys are going to stay soft for you, okay? But notice how I don't do anything like this. I always bring my body over the work, okay? No deep pressure like this. No deep pressure like that. If you want to work that anterior neck, bring that SCM towards you.